Are you ready to have another argument tonight?
I'm ready, and because this kind of motion I'm very interested in, I want to have a kind of this motion with you.
Okay, so this motion is students, not government, should choose their own subject to study. So you are in a proposition or opposition?
Proposition. I'm agree with this one, so I will go first. So I have so firstly about the kind of choosing subjects, because I'm a grade 10 now, and just a few months ago, because many school they allow that student can choose not all the subjects, but like 4 out of 9 subjects we can choose, and it like bring a very big argument from two sides. So I'm a bit like understand about this. So I think it may be a good idea if we can have if we have enough condition to do this one, because you can see that nowadays there are many subjects that we cannot. Maybe we have to learn at the school, but when we finish studying the school, we finish our universities, and we go out finding a job, starting our career. So you will find that nearly all the subjects we have in the past didn't relate anything to the career we want. So I think choosing the subjects, they will choose the subject they like, choosing the subject that are related to the career they want to do in the future. So that will boost their moral. They will like have more excite interest to go to school, and so because the kind of subject they choose is related to their career in the future, so they will have more responsibility to start in the school, and they will have more achievement performing well in the school.
Well, to me, I believe that you should look at a bigger area. Do not just look at high school, because high school is just a small part. What about elementary school? Because the motion is just common. It just said that students should choose their own subjects. It do not state that high schoolers or secondary schoolers. So in this area, both elementary school and middle school and also high school can both choose their subject. It's not just high school. So when elementary or primary school, especially the first grade, the second grade, or the third grade, they're still too immature to choose their subjects they want to study, because they just finished kindergarten and then they go to first grade. So they still have that mindset in mind that they just, in kindergarten, they love to do crafts, they love to play all the time, and nearly they don't have to study anything at all. So when they go to first grade, like nearly every children still have the same mindset in their mind that they just love doing craft. So when they hear the idea of choosing their own subject, most children would choose craft or art or music to learn, because they like playing so much. And even if they choose their own subject, they're still too immature in choosing their own, because they're just first grade or second grade. They know nothing about their future and their career. They're such a young age that they do not have their path in the future just yet. And when you choose the wrong path when you were little, then it's very difficult to change your path in the future.
Although you said that, right, we have to look more from the kindergarten, the primary, and so up until the university. But we but we have to put the elementary group out, because at that age they cannot have enough thought to think about what subject they're going to choose. So we're going to put it out. We start from the middle school, the secondary school, until their high school and the universities, because that time they have they growing up, they have enough thought to think what they want to do in the future. And besides, although we said that students should choose the subjects, but to make sure that they will go to the right path and right for the future, so we have the parents and also the teacher, like we ask some questions to help them find what kind of jobs they want to do in the future. So I think choosing a subject is not bad. And besides, I said that many career in the future not related anything to the subject we learn in the school. So if we choose subjects, we will learn less, because like we will learn less subjects and we will have more time to focus on the subject we study, and that will make that we will study better. And also when they will like focus on the subject they will study, to make sure that the career won't go right.
Well, you can't just put elementary school away because the motion just said students, not government, should choose their own subject. And how can you possibly put elementary or primary school away? That's impossible. You cannot do that, since the motion did not say except primary school. It does not say that. So primary school can still be in this area. How can you just put them out? It's impossible, and you cannot do that since you're not the government. So the motion, you're misunderstanding the motion. The motion just said students, not government, should choose their own subject. It does not say except primary student. So you cannot put primary student out. And also you say that maybe teachers or parents can help them decide their choice. Well, it's their choice. No one can ever change their choice, and I don't know when they will help them. Besides, like I said, they're way too mature, so you cannot put primary school out because there's no exception. All of the grades from primary to high school and university are the same. They can both choose their own subjects. And like I said, it will lead to decide their path wrong because they will have still that mindset when they play the little. Because nowadays you will see some kind of examples. For example, in the Z Live we always watch, there is an MC there that he said he used to learn medical. He used to go to medical school and he was planning to become a doctor, but that he changed right away to become a reporter. So that's the reason why students should not choose their own subjects, because they will lead to choose their path wrong. Since, for example, when you are in primary school and you said, oh, you love art so much, you have to choose art. So you cannot just change them so easily in secondary school. So you cannot change them in secondary school anymore since you've already made your decision.
So as I said, I'm not sure that the adult have the student to decide. I said that they will have some question to like make the student understand about themselves more, and from understanding about them more, they will decide better. They will like have a right choice for their subjects they will learn. And also, if we put the primary in, so we will also have some teacher, or maybe we have some kind of adult will explain the kind of subjects for the student to understand what kind of subject it is, what we will learn in that subject, and how important it is for the student to understand. And besides, you said that it is the student choice. Of course, it is the student choice, but you have things. From the universities, we more than 18, so we can have our own choice. But below that, we under 18s. So every choice of us also we have to make a responsibility about that. And also parents also have to help them to make the right choice. I'm not sad that the parent like decide for them, but they have the right to help the student to do that. And also besides, you said that you said that maybe when we study in the university, we study this kind of subjects, but when we like go out, we find jobs, it's not related anything to that. But because of the old system we study now, we study many subjects, and from that we cannot decide like what subject we strong about, we good at. So when the student can choose what subject they study, so at that time they have to find what subject they're good at. And so when they find out, they have to focus 100% in that to make sure that they go right. And because it is study, so if a long time, if they feel that they want to change, so they can change. They can change many times in the study process until when they find a career.
Well, they can change. sure, they can change. They can just change. So how about this? When you are in university and you decide to learn medical, you want to become a doctor or a nurse or a caretaker in the future, but then you change your mind and you just want to be a reporter, so you change to another career. That's impossible, and you cannot do that anymore, since when you're in university it's way too late. And like I said, yeah, sure, parents can decide and can help them choose, but it's their choice. Because, for example, sometimes parents nowadays that they just want the best for their children, and sometimes they're forcing their children to learn the subjects. Because to my research, about 60% of parents nowadays that the parents really want the best for their children, and they in turn to force the children to do something they do not like. So I've heard a story before that this girl, she loves design and she wants to be a designer in the future. But sadly, her parents do not want her to be a designer, and the parents advise her to work in the language area or the international area, which it's kind of like forcing, right? Because in the end, she still learns at that. So that's kind of forcing, and parents should not force children, because when they advise children, they tend to force children more than advise children, because parents should respect children's idea. And also, when we choose a subject, that's exactly the point. You can change, of course, but it's way too late. It's too late to change, because when students get to choose their own subjects, then this problem will happen. So, you choose the subject, you want to be a designer in the future, so you choose art or music. And for the other stuff, it is, when you choose art and music and you said you want to be a designer, little do you know is that you are really good at math, maybe. So you're so good at math, but you don't know that. So it's very hard to change, because sometimes we just because students nowadays, they choose the subject they want to learn based on their hobby. They just base them on their hobby. So they find that their interest is art and music, and without a second thought, they just choose art and music right away. But they did not know that maybe they're good at math and they may regret their choice in the future.
So about the first opinion, the first one you said to me that maybe the parent being forced, because nowadays we still study all the subjects, we still study all of that, and the adult until now, they also have a really, I think, old-fashioned thought, that they thought that some kind of, because we study all of that, so nowadays I see that many people have an old-fashioned thought. They just thought math and literature and maybe language is important, and if we study good three subjects like that, so in the future we will be more like, we will find it easier to find a job. But if not, so if we can choose our subjects like that, so every subject will be the same. People will not like this thing is more important than the other things. So at that time, we will have no forcings. And besides, you said to me, maybe it's too late. You said to me about like when we want to change, it's too late. But if like parents not force them anymore, so nothing is too late, because at that time we choose the right path, we choose the right career. So I think nothing like too late will happen.
How can you make so sure the parents will not force them anymore? There's no proofs to that.
So as I said to you, because nowadays in the world that we also have to study every subject, so parents will think this kind of subject is more important than other sides. That is why the forcing has been. But when we have the right to choose the subject we want to study, so at that time every subject is the same. Because it is the same, so we will have no forcings.
But it still doesn't make any sense why you said there's no forcing, because there's no proof. Parents can still force them, because nowadays in high school we can actually choose our own subjects, but in some situation parents can still force you like normally. So parents can still force you in some situation, one way or another. And like I said, that overall sum up that my idea and my goals for this is that students should not choose their own subjects, because especially I'm paying more attention because in university, of course, you can choose your own major because you go to a career. But even in high school, I still think that you should not choose your own subject. Because why? Nowadays, we're too immature. That's the point. Even if we are in high school, we're still too immature. Because according to The Economist, that about over 50% of kids nowadays are too immature. They care, like all the kids, especially girls, they care too much about their appearance. When they go to school, they just care too much about their appearance, how they dress, how their hair look like, and about how they care about boys too. So kids nowadays, they care too much about these stuff, and they do not care too much about studying. So that's the reason why kids or teenagers should not choose their own subjects. It's the government's job to do it, because I see now for the past 20 years, governments chose their own subjects for students and it works just fine. There's no problem about it because for the past 20 years, governments had chose subjects for students and students just keep learning by those subjects and there's no problem about it. No one cares. No one cares about this. So the government works just fine to choose their own subjects. There's no problem.
Okay, so you said that the girl care too much about the other stuff, don't care about study. I think it's wrong because nowadays it's just the past. Because nowadays I see many people that although they care all about this stuff, I see that many students, they also start their own business, small business, but they still care really good about their study. And also you said that the government do it like years to years and you think it's fine, but it's not. Because when we study all the subjects like that, so there maybe we'll have some subject we don't like, we don't want to study because for some reason maybe we're not good at that, or maybe what else of reasoning will happen. So if we're not like that, we're not good at that, so in this kind of subjects, we will feel that we feel boring. We don't want to study. So that time, because we don't want to study, so we will not pay attention. So that time, both the teacher and the student will feel very uncomfortable.
The problem that students nowadays, they feel bored by the lesson is because of teachers. Subjects do not have anything to do with it. Just like nowadays, in some subjects like history, geography, those are very interesting topics. And actually, if our education have a better method of teaching, then students would actually be interested in it. The reason that students are bored by those subjects is the method that teachers teach, not by the subject.
I'm not sad that because of the subjects. I just sad that because we cannot like all of these subjects. We will have we like this one more and we don't like that one. For example, I like math more than chemistry. I like English, I like Chinese more than literature. So when we in these school in the lessons that it is the subjects we don't want to study, we not good at that, we don't want. So at that time, so you saw that because of the method of the teacher, but I think if we not like that, so maybe if the teacher did really good, did really interesting, she tell them stories, she make the other student focus, but because we not like that, so we cannot study that lesson well.
So you said that however the teacher teaches interesting as it is, but you still do not pay attention, any proofs for that?
Of course, because we don't like anything, any jobs, any kind of works if we don't like, so we cannot do it well. We cannot pay attention 100% to that.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this question. Is that, should primary students choose their own subjects?
I think you are a little bit focused on one area, because the first you start from the primary, you talk too little about the secondary and the high school, and so the second one you focus on the universities. So I started you before because they primary, so sometimes they don't understand this kind of subject. So there will be parent, the teacher, the adult to explain for them what kind of subject it is. So what we will learn about that, and also how important it is. And besides, although they are kid, but not all the kids like they want to play. Because I see many kids nowadays, like they grow faster than their age. They feel curious about many things, and if we can make them feel interest in this kind of subject, so they will have to decide to choose.
First question, how can we make them? Second question, it's just your view. What about others people's view? Because you said I see other people or other kids that they're older by their age, but that's your view, not my view, and not a lot of others people's view. So how can we make them? And I think you're backing up my point. You're in my side right now, because when students are in primary school, they do not understand much. That's you're backing up my point. They're immature. That's my point, and you're backing it up.
But I said that there will be still people to explain for them if they don't understand. So there will still people to explain for them what kind of study, what kind of subject it is.
That's because they're too immature. That you're immature to need people explaining for them, and you're backing up my point just there. So you're backing up my point by saying that they're too little to understand. And you also said in the beginning of our argument that you said we should put away the elementary school by nothing. That's impossible. So the reason you said that is because you have nothing to prove. And you're backing up my point by saying that also. So have you finished argument?
Finish.
Okay, what's your conclusion?
So from the older reason I start choosing this, the subject we want to study really good because it have many benefits, help our career so much. So I think if the people think again, they think I have to choose this kind of way to study.
Well, for me, one simple sentence is that kids nowadays, 60% of them are too immature to choose their own subjects. Because when you already choose, like when they already have a mindset until primary school, they will still have it until secondary and move on, since they thought the same mindset. That's the kids. That's the way of kids nowadays. Thank you.